Good morning and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where we talk raw about ag, right? That's how it works. At least that's how it's supposed to work, and these are strictly my opinions and thoughts and views on what's going on in the world and with other, controversial subjects in agriculture. So, I'm going to start this one off with an email that I just received because I thought it was kind of cool. And it's from a guy by the name of Ken Wolf. He sends me this paragraph. It says, "This year will go down in history. For the first time, a civilized nation has full gun registration. Our streets will be safer, our police more efficient, and the world will follow our lead into the future." Boy, doesn't that sound a little familiar, right? Well, actually, this was said in 1935 by a man named Adolf Hitler. So, who's the Hitler? Anyway, here we go. Here's a question from PM LaBerge, L-A-B-E-R-G-E, LaBerge. And he's been a long-time subscriber on my other channel, and he watches and disagrees on some subjects, which is perfectly normal, and agrees on others, which is perfectly normal. It's this one-sided shit that I can't stand, and that's what he says here. "Aside from the budget and North Korea, I have no real objections to Mr. Trump." I believe he's Canadian, but that doesn't matter. "I wish people would show more respect, though, but this unicorn madness will come back to haunt them," which I agree with. "I honestly thought Trump would make North Korea a deal they could not refuse, as he has made deals around the world, and close this issue within a year." Well, that's a... Wait a minute, there's more here. "Hawaii has Pearl, an Air Force base, and a Marine base. I hope Kim is not foolish enough to attack it. At the last guys to do that, Japan. But anyways, here we go. Yeah, right. The last people that attacked Hawaii was Japan, and it didn't work out too good for them. There was, it would have been total annihilation if they hadn't agreed to stop. But anyways, on North Korea and Donald Trump making a deal, you can't make a deal with a madman. It just doesn't happen, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that think that Donald Trump is a madman, but, I honestly believe that he has pure good intentions for our country, where I would not have voted for him. As far as Little Kim, the Rocket Man, his whole idea is what it seems to me. I mean, maybe it isn't, but it's world domination kind of sort of thing, or, self-defense. But if you're a peaceful nation like, say, I don't know, all the peaceful nations we never hear about in the world that are bigger and smaller than North Korea, you don't need nuclear weapons. You just ally yourself with someone that does have a nuclear weapon, like, the only reason there is in North Korea is because of Russia and, China. China came to North Korea's defense back in the 50s, from 1950 to 53. I think we fought more Chinese than we did North Koreans. But if you ally yourself with somebody who has a force like they had for invading countries, now you'd be pretty safe, not this terroristic threat that they're portraying. So, yeah, making a deal with Little Kim, the deal would be total, disarmament. Don't have any nuclear weapons. You're too irresponsible of a nation to have them, and they're not going to go for that. You could say the same for the United States, that we are that we should do away with our nuclear weapons. Well, you know what? If the nuclear weapon was never devised, we'd either be speaking German or Japanese. Most likely Japanese, because they were doing a really good job. Well, they were on the run by the time we dropped that bomb. But still, I mean, it ended a war. It saved millions of lives in the end. I mean, yeah, there were like 1 million people that were affected from the nuclear weapons, but whatever. It stopped the war where millions of invading soldiers would have been killed. Just going on to shore, or vice versa. If the Japanese had ever decided to come to mainland United States, they would have been just totally annihilated. It would have anybody that they would have sent would have been killed. Of course, there would have been a lot of civilian life lost also, but we'd have been there at the shores with our 12 gauges, our 30-aught sixes, our whatever the hell, 22 long rifles for that matter. I mean, you want to fuck somebody up, you shoot them with a 22. You're not going to die right away, but they're going to know they're going to die. You put 4 or 5 rounds out of a 22 rifle into somebody, a long rifle into somebody, they're going to die. One round, well placed, but they're going to know it. My personal favorite would be a 308, but, I'd go through 2 or 3 of them guys. But 22 long rifle, they wouldn't have had a chance. But anyways, now I'm off subject. When does the Chrome baler go to the dealer for the end of season work? Well, it's going to have to happen pretty soon because I'm leaving on February 20th and I won't be back till the 10th of March, so I'm going to be gone for a while. If someone wants to blame someone, then blame Bill Clinton for selling North Korea the technology to make weapons of mass destruction. I could agree with that. Yeah, you could blame him, but you could blame anybody preceding him, too, that had hiccups with North Korea. There's been 70 years of chances to say, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe this isn't how you enter the world community. Because they're isolated. If you have a YouTube channel and you go onto your analytics and look regions and click on North Korea, you will not have even one view from North Korea. They are that isolated. They do nothing. They have nothing. They're starving and they have nuclear weapons because it's very expensive to develop those. Okay. Oh, let's see. What do we have here? Love the new mic. I take out my 1911 M1 Garand every anniversary of Pearl Harbor, and the looks I get from all the Glock, the Glock and AR guys is priceless. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, if you want a durable rifle that can stand the test of a major war, it's the M1 Garand and the 1911 Colt. But Glocks have their place, and also the AR. I have both. And believe me, the M1, it's a voice to be reckoned with. The AR, it's a lot of little voices to be reckoned with, For every M1 shot, you need 2 from the AR to equal the penetration and efficiency of the 06 round, or even later 30-aught 308. I'm offended you didn't say blue tractors. Well, boo-hoo. I'll have to do that one, too. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. Do you have any tips about John Deere Discbind 735? Brief and simple question, etc. Marcus from Sweden. John Deere has a bulletproof design on their cutter bars. The ones that were before that, they were a Kuhn design, but they were built very heavy. And the Kuhn cutter bar, it's a good cutter bar. If you buy it in the cheaper models, it's not as good as in the more expensive models, even though they're the same damn cutter bar. It's all the caging that goes around it to keep it rigid so it doesn't flex. And the skid plates, if you were to buy a Kuhn cutter bar in a new idea, it's not going to last. But if you bought a Kuhn cutter bar and say that John Deere, it's going to last because there's a lot of steel reinforcement behind it. And the best one was actually Gale. Gale made a fastening system for that thing that made it so rigid that it was bulletproof. They worked very well. So, let's see. Oh, here's Chucky 2009. He says, hey, just glad to see it got a good home. It sounds good on your show. Well, thank you, Chucky. It's been, it's a very kingly gift. I appreciate it very much, It's good. I've always loved it when Social Security is called entitlement in a derogatory tone from the politician. Assholes. That's true. It is not an entitlement. This was set up, oh God, who set this up? Was it Roosevelt set up the Social Security system? I'm pretty sure it was. I mean, we're talking before my time, so, it's hard to remember all of the details of the Social Security system. It was set up. It was the workers put in and the workers took out. And sometime in, I would have to say somewhere around 1980s was when, and yes, that would have been the Ronald Reagan era, when they raided that. It was either him or Jimmy Carter, one or the other, which was in the 70s. Yeah. What do you think of Massey Ferguson Hesston mowers, not self-propelled mowers, pull-behind mowers? Okay, so a neighbor of mine has one, and his son had one. They had a lot of trouble. There's actually 3 rollers in that thing, and the son had an older model of the same thing that the father had, and that, I don't know, they kept having bearings go out and things like that with the roller system, but I never heard them. Well, they split it in half once or twice, so I don't know. Depends on how many acres you're doing. If you're only doing a couple 300 acres a year, probably work great for you for 10, 15 years. If you're doing 1,000 acres a year, it's going to last you maybe 4 or 5 years. That's it. So, you make up your mind there. Make up that decision. John Deere didn't make a payloader. John Deere makes their loader, industrial loader. But yeah, I just have no desire to own one of those. Thought Trump said he was going to end Rocket Man last year. Was that just lies? Trump did say he loves stupid people. He may have said that he loves stupid people. And he also did say that he was going to end Rocket Man. And, sometimes you say things and then reality sets in and you can't do what you want to do because there's checks and balances. Donald Trump is not Barack Obama. Barack Obama had a telephone and a pen, and he was going to make anything he wanted happen. Like DACA, all those dreamers, Okay, so Barack Obama broke the law when he did the DACA. He had no right to do it. That is a congressional matter, not a presidential matter. And Donald Trump has made it quite clear that he is not going to break the law because, let's face it, if Donald Trump breaks the law like Obama broke the law, Donald Trump will be, indicted and then impeached because he's a Republican, and Republicans don't have the support to break the law as a Democrat does because they do it all the time. I mean, look at Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton sold out our uranium to the Russians. Nice. We actually have to buy our uranium from the Russians now if we need it. It's crazy. Russian company, we should say. And they're worried about, this dossier that's false and never even, it went nowhere. They've been digging for over a year now, and it's gone nowhere. So, yeah. Oh, Jesus, Wes. Jamie Lee Curtis just turned 59. The hate mail. Now, I don't care about Jamie Lee Curtis. She looks like she's 60-something. Back when she did True Lies, I'd have to say that she was probably in her 40s and still looking pretty amazing. But, she's... You know what makes her old and ugly? Jamie Lee Curtis is a beautiful woman, What makes her old and ugly is her out-and-out one-sided political view. And I don't have a one-sided political view. If there's a Democrat that does good in this world or in this country, they earn my respect. I'd have to say that it's very hard to find a Democrat that is, let's say, a little bit, has a little bit of control and reserve, to be a little more conservative and actually follow what the Constitution of the United States says, instead of just doing whatever the hell they want, like, I've got a pen and a phone. That right then and there was the words of a dictator, not a president. Building the wall, like Donald Trump says, if that was Obama and he was as passionate about building the southern wall, it would have been built. It would have just been built. It would have been a stroke of a pen and a phone call to his buddy down at the, South Chicago Wall Building Company, and there would have been a wall built. But Donald Trump isn't doing that. He's going through the channels and doing it the way it is supposed to be done because he's got advisors, and those advisors he listens to. So, yeah, there's lawyers upon lawyers telling him what he can and can't do because, let's face it, I don't know what I can and can't do. And neither neither does Donald Trump. I mean, he's a businessman, but he's got good people around him that are telling him, hey, this is how it has to be done, not the way you want it to be done, so let's kind of curb it a little bit so that it gets done properly and you don't end up in jail, because they'd love to put you there, and that's the way that works. Would you want to get GPS on the tractors that you spray with? I've used GPS on the sprayer tractors, and it's good. It works well, but I'm just not... I don't know why I don't use it. I just don't. I have GPS. It's a Trimble system. It works great. I used to plant corn with it. I spread fertilizer with it. And the fertilizer, it works very well. I took the kids to Fair Oaks Farm last year. It was expensive to get in, and yeah, the experience was okay. Honestly, walking through the barns at the country fair will get you the same experience. Plus, you may actually be able to lay your hand on an animal at the fair. Yeah, right. I agree with that. But, you know, these mega dairies are... What happens if one of them goes down? I mean, that's when the little guy starts to make money again. So... Alright, Hunting Hitler show is a joke. I don't find it to be a joke. What I find it to be is the Hunting Hitler show is pulling up or released documentation. Boy, this makes my scar look really pronounced there, huh? That's crazy. Anyway, the Hunting Hitler show was is actually just bringing to light what they knew back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. They just never went after him because we were at the height of the Cold War, and if we were actually going to go against what the Russians said, because the Americans never laid eyes on Adolf Hitler's supposed charred remains, and the Russians buried that body out someplace. I don't even know where they buried it. I forget now, but the United States knew that Hitler wasn't in that bunker. They knew. We had intelligence there. If you watch the show at the end of, not last night's, because I didn't watch last night's, but if you watch that show, you're going to see that there was this dividing. They split the troops to try and head them off. But I mean, it'd be pretty naive of Adolf Hitler to not have an escape route when he knew that we were closing in. And I'm sure he had escape routes planned back in 1939. Because you don't know when you invade a country what you're really truly getting into, you know. But Poland was a pushover. Shame of it is, you know, and they had been taking ground since I think before 1939. 39 was the invasion of Poland, but they were taking ground in 35 back from the Austria-Hungarian Empire. So Adolf Hitler wasn't truly a German. He was an Austrian, but he was born into the Austria-Hungarian Empire. After World War I, they split that all up. So do some history. If you look at old encyclopedias, even just 20-year-old ones, you see the lines change all from Czechoslovakia to the Czech Republic, and the lines change Crimea, all that stuff. It's nuts. Anyway, there were some really good questions up here that I did not get to look at. Your discussion on Social Security is spot on. Unemployment is another mess. My father worked for the same company for 42 years, paid into unemployment for those 42 years. Then when he retired, where did all the money paid into the unemployment go? Well, the unemployment fund is actually an insurance policy, so an insurance company got that money. It was an insurance policy. He paid into it for 42 years, and the money that he paid into it went to pay for all of his colleagues that tore a fingernail on the job and had to take 9 weeks off. So when your dad did retire, he should have taken every sick day and vacation day that he could have got his hands on, paid vacation days. And, yeah. How about my grandfather, who worked in the paper mill for 21 years, had a heart attack, and then when he died, he got nothing. My grandmother got nothing. He would work at the paper mill at the swing shift and then come home and farm all day and night, you know, depending on what was going on. Sleep for 4 hours, go back to work. It was just it's tough to say what happened to that money. And now anybody that retired or was forced to retire from that paper mill down there, they got nothing. There's nothing other than Social Security and their family members if they weren't savvy enough to put some money away or even invest in things. And don't invest in that company that you work for, because them cocksuckers, that's it. Once they're done, they're done. If you do the hats, Wes, if you do the hats on ball cap, I will take one that says green matters, green tractors matter, and one that says red matters. Let everyone know when you have them. I will absolutely. That's a call I can take later. Are you planning to build any new buildings for hay, machine storage? Yeah, I do have plans, but it's not to build them. Uh-oh. Here it comes. There's 1 and 2. What are you, in your underwear? I'm going to smack in the pecker. You're bugging me. I'm not chubby. I'm just easy to see. Okay. So that's tomato paste. Would I ever get a self-propelled John Deere sprayer? Probably not. Just not interested in them. Pull types are perfectly fine. I can unhook and go with my tractor. I always said that about a mower, and then when I got the self-propelled mowers, the efficiency of the self-propelled mower is way better than a pull type. Is there anything you need?
My throat swelled up.
Okay.
It hurts.
That's nice. Go gurgle some Listerine. Tim is interrupting my show. You know, you gotta educate these kids. Yeah. Wes, there's one. I've been thinking about growing soybeans and looking for the best way to plant them. I have a John Deere 8300 grain drill. I had one of those on 6-inch spacing. I would check that. I bet it's 7. It shows I can plant soybeans, but is it too close on the spacings? Love your channel. Thanks for your advice you can give. Okay, so I had an 8300. It was on 7-inch spacing, 21 hoe. Is it 21 hoe? Yeah, 21 hoe. 21 hoe. If you're worried about the spacing, just get some Gorilla Tape. They make some really nice wide 6-inch Gorilla Tape and put it over every other hole. But you still have to put the same amount of seed down. And I don't know where you are in the world. If you're in New Jersey, 6-inch, 7-inch spacing is perfectly fine. You'd be okay with that. I always grew beans on 7-inch spacings. Same with the no-till drill. 7.5-inch spacings, I think. So, yeah, no problems there. So if you're putting down, I don't know, 1.5 bushels to the acre, which is what I would recommend with soybeans, even though the seed companies say you only need 1 bushel to the acre or even less. Like now, I think they're doing a seed count, 220,000 seeds to the acre, I think is what they're looking for. You know, if you block every other one off, you have to open it up to put that many pounds down. So, and it's not even going to be a double size rate. Shake it, shake it. Anyway, it's yeah. These people are screwing up my show today. Well, life is busy around here. It just is. So, yeah, good luck with that. You can block every other one off, and that's fine. That'll work. I did it. I've done it. The problem is, if you got a high deer population and you block every other one off and you're 14 inches of space between them or 15 inches of space between them at 7.5, because I'll bet they're 7.5, 7 or 7.5. I know that's maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think an 8300 is 7 or 7.5. Anyway, block every other one off, but what that does is it gives the deer and the groundhogs and anything that wants to walk up and down those rows clear passage. And deer like clean, clear passages, and they will walk up and down those rows. If they start to get their feet tangled, then it kind of keeps them off to the edges of the field. So, you know, but that's up to you. That's up to you. Good luck with that. That's all I can say with that one. Okay, I think the North Korean thing was officially called the Korean Police Action, which I'm pretty sure that's what it was called also. The North Korea police, it was a police action, not a war. The Vietnam War, I don't know why I don't know if we declared, I think we did declare war in Vietnam. That was over rubber, by the way, believe it or not, and communism, but rubber mostly. We had a lot of cars, we needed rubber before synthetic rubber. Oh, what else do we got here? I think we're pretty much done, other than the microphone thing. Yep, the microphone works very well. I want to thank Lance again for that. It was great. Here's a question. Last one. Tyler Moon. I thought they said Sailor Moon. Oh my goodness. But it was Tyler Moon. You know who Sailor Moon was, right? Hey, Teresa's shaking her head. Yeah, that was a little Asian girl, wasn't she? Sailor Moon? It was Japanimation. With the big eyes and stuff, yeah.
Body,
yeah. Well, Tyler, I'm sorry I'm referring to, well, unless you're a woman, you got a smoking hot body, then I'd change my name. Sailor Moon. Yeah. Anyways, I had a 44-30 lose 1 and 2 in A and B and 3 and 4 in C and D at the same time. Any ideas there? Yes. Yes, I do. They're called synchronizers. Synchronizers. You're going to have to tear the cab off. It's going to suck, but you're going to have to tear the cab off. Tear the cab off, split the tractor, pull them out, replace them, take them to a guy with a press. Unless you got a press, you got to press them in, soak them in ATF and other things like that. And it's just a job, my friend. It's a job. So there you go. Oh, man. Luke Strawwalker is a great guy, has lots to share and in great detail. I always love his posts on Hey Talk. Good info. You know, Luke Strawwalker has been a subscriber of mine for many, many moons, Sailor Moons. And anyway, I don't know anything about him. Is that wrong of me? I'm going to have to look him up. Actually, I've got several people that have said Luke Strawwalker's a pretty cool dude. Where's this? This other one was Northern Farmer. Yeah, I always liked Luke Strawwalker. Obviously, he's a John Deere guy. I love reading his comments. He is everywhere on YouTube. Can you imagine sitting down to talk with him? Would be very interesting. Now, I have read a lot of Luke Strawwalker's stuff. And I guess I don't respond to him very often. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he does have such long-winded comments. And I just can't read the whole thing and then comment on them. A lot of times they're like multi-part questions and stuff. So I'm sorry, Luke, if I'm, if you feel like I'm not paying close enough attention to you. But hey, compress them or do a couple of different comments on the same page, and maybe I'll answer at least one, possibly two, when you go the next time. So, anyways, I guess this is the end of it. We're at 27 minutes, which seems to be where I finish up every day, every time. So, just want to say thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out One Lonely Farmer. If you're not subscribed to One Lonely Farmer, check that out. Hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It makes me some money, but it costs you nothing. Same thing here. If you're just a lurker and you're lurking around this channel and you like what you see, why not hit the subscribe button? Get me up there. Google hates my guts. They don't want to see me succeed on YouTube. I just looked at my subscriber base, and it dropped by 2,000 subscribers. It was amazing because I went to the analytics, and it said that I got more subscribers than I ever had before. So how the hell does that happen? How the hell does that happen? Anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. See you on Sunday.